Hey, everybody, welcome to the Combo Wombo podcast. It's your host, Mr. Gimpy and Chipped Monk. What's going on, brother?
It's happening, bro. I texted you earlier this week, and like we talked about it. I was like, "There's this new DLC, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for Injustice 2. This shit's hype." I was like, "You're like, bro, that shit came out almost 3 years ago, bro. They don't even work on that game." I was like, "But I just saw the supercut on YouTube, like all these girls."
My man's
Uh,
watching YouTube on the Wayback Machine.
yeah, dude. Like, I don't, whatever the YouTube algorithm was like, "Hey, man, check out Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think you'd be interested." I'm like, "Yeah, let me see that." They're good, man. I remember playing in the arcade, four-player arcade. This is like the first time I've seen like anything like that with four players all side by side. It was like that game and like X-Men. Like I spent all the money on. Like
Oh,
if
hell
you got
yeah.
to the arcade, like any birthday party or anything, like with you and your buddies, four-player beating them ups, side-scrolling adventures, dude. Like that was what it was about. And like up until that point, I played River City Ransom. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, River City
this was like
Ransom's
a
great.
completely different thing, dude. Like, and like I think before that, I think the only thing I'd saw that was like Double Dragons. Double Dragons was the arcade banger, dude. That was the game
No, let me ask you this. Did you play Double Dragon in the arcade or did you play it on the Nintendo first?
on the arcade, dude. That's
Okay,
where I played
so
it first.
you had the better experience because 99% of people played it on the NES first, or 99% of people I know. And the first
That's
Nintendo
just
Double
sounds made
Dragon
up.
did not have my all of my facts are well researched, and
Okay.
you take that as gospel.
Dude,
But
like, when I was editing these,
yeah,
shocking how accurate we are, like, with our facts.
I
I'll
got
be like
I'm like a compendium of general video game knowledge. The dates might be off, but I swear, like I don't remember
the dates
shit
might be a
like
little off, but it's pretty close.
the dates are a little off, but but like the main message is usually there because like I might be wrong in some things, like who won the who won the final four 6 years ago. I might be off on that, but like gaming knowledge, I'm fucking on it. But yeah, my point being Double Dragon, the first NES game didn't actually have two player.
Oh, man.
Double Dragon 2
That's sick.
is what people remember, but they always will go, yeah, you had to fight each other at the end. That was in 2, bro. Like it wasn't in 1 on the NES. You had to wait for that. It was either in the arcade or whatever. You had to
Yeah,
fight your
like, I
brother.
played the arcade, and, like, some of the best times were, like, with my little bro, playing that, in the arcade, so and,
My
like, we it was, like, past, like, its prime, so it's like in one of these arcades where it's, like, at a rec center, but it was, like, free games, so we just, like, be in there playing the life out of that machine.
my sister and so growing up, I mean, I was obviously the one who played video games more. My sister is 10 months younger than me, so we're very close in age. But Streets of Rage was our shit back in the day, man. So that game, the music, the story actually was pretty dope, and just characters, the special moves after for Streets of Rage 2, best beat 'em up of all time, if you ask me. It was just
Is that the one with,
perfect.
Capcom and it's, like, the governor's a wrestler?
That's Final Fight.
Okay.
Streets of
Streets
Rage
of
was
Rage.
direct competition with the home version of
Oh,
Final Fight. Final Fight really took beat 'em ups and put it and took them to a whole new level because before Final Fight you had like Double Dragon, River City Ransom, things like that where they were popular, but they didn't really take a lot from like fighting games just yet. Final
a
Fight
wrestler is the
added
governor,
like
that'll never
special
happen.
moves and really giant sprites. And yes, wrestler is
Yeah,
a governor. We got Kane. What's that in Arkansas? He's a mayor, right? The
yeah,
Demon
man.
Kane. And in Minnesota, we had Jesse the Body Ventura as governor.
Yeah.
So either in Arkansas or in Minnesota, you have wrestlers as politicians.
Has Jesse
That's
lost
where it's
his
going to
mind,
happen.
bro? Like,
Dude, I think that we take those beat 'em up plots, and like let's say like a biker gang or whatever kept
yeah.
spiking the water supply, and Jesse's a big fan of just big gulping water, right?
Dude, I
And
watched him,
that's
he
what
was
happened
talking
to him.
about,
He's
like,
just solely mind controlled.
he was like, "I was out there fishing with beluga whales, and then they come right up to you." And he's like, and I heard about, like, the poachers who are killing all the fish, and I was like, I could go stop these people. This right on my wheel set of skills. He was like, I was a Navy SEAL. I could blow up their ships and murder them with a knife. It would be so easy. And I'm like, what the fuck?
This man is just talking about his role in Predator.
I know, dude. He's getting flashbacks to Predator, dude. Like
Shit, wouldn't you, man? It's like
that movie
that
was
damn
great.
alien that movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
I quote him all the time, like around Halloween time when like everyone's thinking about Predator again. He's like, I'm a sexual Tyrannosaurus is one of them, and he cocks the shotgun and goes, I like to keep this for close encounters.
There was a
Such good.
great run of like 90s arcade beat 'em ups where they tried to tie like the movie Time where it was like this like they did for RoboCop and they're like, "Oh, this is a beat 'em up, but we're just gonna throw like different sprites on it." I think like Acclaim did a lot of these, where it's just like almost like a sprite swap, and they're like they're not good, but like you could be RoboCop, you could have a gun and you could punch people. I think they did one with Batman, and I want to say Predator might have had one.
So, Aliens versus Predator, the Capcom beat 'em up arcade game, was that, and it. So you played as either like different color palette swapped predators, and I think they had different weapons as well, or you
Yeah,
played as humans with like special abilities, usually through like cybernetic implants. And the final boss was obviously the queen alien. So you had your own get away from her, you bitch moment. So
it's weird because I feel like they cracked that code with Metroid of like how to do like a good space fantasy sci-fi side
mm,
scrolling like shooter, and they're like, let's take that, but instead of doing any of the good stuff, we're just gonna make it a weird amalgamation of like this is why nobody trusts like movie tie-in video games anymore either, dude. Like they've lost all credibility like in the 90s where they're like, this is a cash grab. You might as well just call the game cash grab and then like a picture of like whatever like was hot at the time. Like we're still seeing it with like the Avengers game where it's like,
mm,
yeah, this is a cash grab app game. Like basically, we want to turn this into an ATM that takes money out of your pocket and gives it to us.
yeah, yeah. That's I'm glad you mentioned the Avengers because where beat 'em ups are right now, they're kind of having a bit of a resurgence, especially because Streets of Rage 4 came out last year, or it might be. No, I think it was last year. I'm trying to think of the exact date. But with the
Am I
pandemic,
editing
man,
this one?
everything's kind of blended together. Streets of Rage 4,
It'll be here.
yeah, yeah, there it is. So, but fantastic, just reboot. Sega really took an engine that was made for a different game and then just added to it. Had great animation. You had all of your favorite Streets of Rage characters back. You had Axel, who everyone who's played Streets of Rage knows, Bare Knuckle, and we
Yeah,
got Blaze. We got like Skate's not like in the story, but they have Adam, the first from the first game. He's back, and his daughter kind of takes Skate's spot from Streets of Rage 2. But such a fun game. It was the first time Streets of Rage had 4-player co-op. The music was banging. Some of the boss fights were just very creative. The final boss fight was epic and on a whole new scale. When
okay.
playing Streets of Rage 4, I was like, I have missed this feeling, of just being. I played through all of it online, and I just missed the feeling of conquering like 7 levels, of just
Yeah,
insurmountable odds with a buddy, and then just being done with it for the day. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like it was the perfect bite-sized game where that amount of fun you can always come back to and have that same amount of fun. You
yeah,
didn't
man.
need like the sweeping like 18-hour game. It was just this could be played in like under 3 hours, good to go. But yeah, man. So let's talk about beat 'em ups. I think that
So let me ask you:
mm,
was it as fun without having to get quarters in? Like, where was the? Because I feel like a lot of those early arcade cabinets are designed
yes,
to eat your quarters, and like
yes,
the the skill gap is like ridiculous, like the curve on them, where it's just like, yeah, we're gonna have like a ridiculous dumpster truck of like challenge here to get more quarters out of you. Like I felt that way like with Double Dragons, where it was like the controls were tight, but the hitboxes were even tighter, where it was like super unforgiving, especially like with the planes where like you can never tell if somebody was like in front of you or behind you, uh, with the
I
way things are set up.
see. I never had a plane issue, and I think maybe it's because I played so much of them. But even with like Double Dragon, I never had a plane issue. I get like I know playing with other people who didn't play as much as I did always are like I don't know where I am, but the when you look at the shadows, it's
Yeah.
fine.
It usually takes me
Uh,
like a little bit to get back into it where I'm like, "Oh, what why am I not hitting this guy?" I'm like,
yeah,
he's a little above me," and I'm like, it'll take me like 5, 10 minutes to like reacclimate to
right,
that
right.
style of game. But like,
So, mhm,
I don't know, with the new games, how are they keeping you like engaged without like going for quarters like the game would
combo
be?
system. Right now, a lot of the beat 'em ups have a very intricate combo system where you can keep the enemy like juggled. There's a lot of them have like different defensive mechanics because in most beat 'em ups in the '90s you don't have any defense at all. You just get
Yeah,
hit. You have to like dodge them, jump away, or something, or you
dodge,
just would take it.
dive.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So they have a little more intricate mechanics just to gamify it a little bit more, and that takes like it adds a skill gap where you could still die, but you don't feel like you need to pump in quarters for extra lives, if that makes sense. One beat 'em up that came out in the '90s that added a defensive move would be Super Double Dragon for the SNES. It was a remake of the original Double Dragon, but with two players. And it, and I'm just gonna put like a little clip of the first level theme because it's such a banger right here, and I'll give it like 3 seconds. Okay, there it is. And but you had a counter move, so you put your counter up, enemy attacks, and you like grab them, and then you can do an attack like for them and they can't do it. So adding a counter, the game plays a lot slower than the original Double Dragon, but adding that counter made it so much more methodical, and it worked very well for it. So I think that um, without quarters, game developers have had to just expand on the combat system more to make it worthwhile.
I feel like that and like story is huge. Like for like the new Mortal Kombat games, like those stories are fucking insane, dude. Like I was playing like
Mm-hmm.
the new Mortal Kombat like on the Switch. I borrowed like my the Professor's Switch and I was like, oh, let me try this out. Uh, not the best experience. Like the game looks like ass on the Switch, but the story was insane, dude. Like Raiden was like time traveling. They're trying to like re fix like the
Fix the
realms or some
timeline.
shit. Like,
Yep.
yeah, they're fixing the timeline to get back to the OG Mortal Kombat. Like, uh, it I feel like a good story and a beat 'em up goes a long way. Like, we've come a long way from like people's girlfriends getting punched in the solar plex. They're like carried away in a convertible, which is
Please play that
all
right here. All
like
right.
I feel like but that's like all the motivation you need, man. It's a simpler time where like you're like this guy's jocking on my girl. Like we gotta go get my bro and beat up his whole gang. I feel like there was like a big like it's almost like in writing they have like the heroes like save the dog moment. I feel like
Yeah.
for villains like you need the punch like a lady in the gut moment to be like that's all I need. I'm gonna kick all of these guys' asses. Like there's something very primal about that where it's like
It's
just like really good like single story panel telling, like it's like we have one panel to like get you hooked in and like play this game versus all the other like beeps and bops that are going on at like an arcade.
it's the damsel in distress trope, which a lot of people are saying is lazy writing. But you have to admit the reason why it became a trope is because it's very effective. Um, someone punches somebody you care about, you're gonna go beat their ass.
Yeah,
And beat 'em ups really personify that. And around that time, there were a lot of action movies coming out where the main martial arts star is facing against a villain, and there's typically a damsel in distress or a child or like some sort of hostage
commando.
situation. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it works out, you know. So I think that it lends itself to a a hall pass, if you will, for a story because you're just beating the shit out of like 900 dudes, And I absolutely love the fact that you ever think about being a character in a beat 'em up, but like being an
Like a
enemy.
background character of the
Not
enemy.
even no, I mean like an enemy. So you have you it's you and your 40 boys, right? You're just at the bar, just chilling.
Bro,
This dude comes running up, with his buddy, and you're all like, "There's 40 of us. You can't stop this." And they wipe the floor with you, right? But here's the thing: you all wait your turn too to fight them. So you're
yeah.
just sitting there,
Let's
Which
make
is
it fair. Everybody line up.
exactly.
It reminds me of like I don't know if you ever saw a movie Unbach,
Yes. Yep.
where he's like, "Where's my elephant?" Like I can just imagine like the guy writing in. He's like, "Where's my girlfriend?" in the bar. We're like, I don't even know who you are, bro. Let's do it. Raise the
uh,
hands up. Raise them up.
Ong Bak was the first Tony Jaa big movie. Tum Yum Goong is what you're thinking of, which is The Protector, where he was looking for his
Oh,
elephant. And there's an amazing
saw
scene
'em
where he
all. They all
breaks
bleed
everyone's
together.
bone. Yeah, he breaks everyone's bones, and then
It's like
he.
Value 13, dude.
Yeah,
It's like
Family 13 was great.
I think
District
they
B
made like a
13 for
couple of
those.
sequels, dude.
Yep,
Like,
yep. The
and
Protector
they all are
2.
the same movie.
The Protector 2 came out, and it had Tony Jaa pairing with the chick from Chocolate, and
Oh, okay.
the RZA is the main bad guy in the Protector 2. It was not a good movie. It had like
The
it
lady
was.
from Chocolate's not a good actor, dude. I don't know what people were thinking putting her in stuff, bro. Like,
She works for action stuff. Like there's Iron
yeah,
Phoenix
she has
and
great physicality. She sells like all the fight scenes and stuff really well, but like every speaking line she has, and like Arnold made a whole career out of it. Like Unbach, like uh you kind of get it past like when it's like subtitles and stuff like Value 13. Like that guy's acting is not good, but it's
uh,
hardcore
David
parkour.
Bell.
So
Yeah,
yeah, David Bell's acting. No offense to David Bell, like I'm sure like you did the best you could with the material you had. Like everybody like miscast. Like sometimes you need like better actors in there too. Like I
Y-
feel like the one. Oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
You can't make a parkour movie with David Bell and cast someone else. That's the thing. David Bell's like the godfather of parkour. You can't you're doing yourself a disservice. But Cyril Raffaele, he was one of the twins in uh, Enter. Not it's the dragon movie with Jet Li. It's gonna bug me that I can't name it.
Red
Uh,
Dragon.
no, no. Mm, we're gonna edit this because I'm
Just
gonna.
tell me, explain like what's happening in the movie, dude.
So Bridget Fonda, Jet Li, and
Romeo Must Die.
nope, that was Aaliyah. Let's see, we're gonna edit this shit out.
Ah
Kiss of the
man, what do
Dragon.
you
Kiss of the
Kiss of the
Dragon.
Dragon? Okay.
Um, so Jet Li fights twins, which the twins are played by the guy from B13 who was the cop.
Yeah.
That guy's. I think he's actually a great actor. We just don't see him much because he's French,
Yeah.
but he's a phenomenal physical actor. And
They've same scene like in Kiss of the Dragon where like he enters the cop station,
mhm,
much like the bar scene you just described,
yep,
where he opens up the gym and then like the guy just like locks the door where he's like and they all
yep,
like line up to fight him.
yep,
Uh,
yep.
they're like,
Uh,
all right. They're like, we're literally training for this exact scenario, bro. You just messed up on every level walking in here. And he's like, no, you messed up.
Yep.
It was great,
Kiss of
dude.
the Dragon had that famous scene from the trailer where he kicks a billiard ball directly at the camera and it just bounces off some dude's head. Uh,
Yeah.
so that's what beat 'em ups do, though, and it's why we'll talk about the progression of the genre and what it became. But I love martial art movies. I have the entire Shaw Brothers collection, which is over 100 movies. Uh, I love like the Bruce Lee era, Jackie Chan era, Jet Li, early early Donnie Yen and
Did
current Donnie
Jet Li
Yen.
get any beat 'em up games? I feel like Jackie Chan had a couple, and like
Jackie Chan had Jackie Chan Stuntmaster and
he had the one on the
that's one other.
PlayStation,
Yeah, that
right?
one was
Where it's besides,
Stuntmaster. Yeah,
are you
yeah,
sure? He also had like the one based on the Jackie Chan Adventures, which for
yep.
like the Game Boy and
Game Boy
stuff.
Advance. Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
Jackie Chan did. Bruce Lee did. Jet Li had Rise to Honor. And then if we're going
that was like
like
it's a newer game too, right? That
that
came
was
out like on the
PlayStation
PS3
Two, PS2.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then the other one, Donnie Yen has not had a game yet, which which I don't know about mobile. I feel the Ip Man movies were so popular that he may have a mobile game out there where you
I bet he has
play as Ip
games
Man.
in China.
Yeah. But
Like,
you
I
also
feel like he's
had,
such a star there, dude. Like, he's
yeah.
huge over there, and, like, he has so many, like, great movies, and, like, nobody
Hmm.
over here cares about him, bro. Like, they're
They
like,
do now. Ip Man really gave him the clout. But you're right. I've been a Donnie Yen fan since the early '90s. Man, he was
yeah,
the main bad guy in Once Upon a Time in China too. So he fought like directly against Jet Li, and that was one of the
yeah,
best final fight scenes of all time.
it's great.
Yeah, he's also the bad guy. Well, American audiences will remember him from
He's always playing the bad guys. Like,
from
it was
Shanghai
hard.
Nights or Shanghai
Maybe it
Noon.
was, him trying to get, like, a babyface turn, like, is what turned people off, but, like, I don't know.
So
I feel like,
it's really hard to break into American cinema.
yeah,
For like
anybody.
you only get like one like years ago in like the '70s you had like one black star. Now you get like
Yeah.
one Asian star, and it's getting better, but obviously it's not there yet because
Dude,
Tony
it's
Jaa should be
for
bigger,
anybody. Like,
Ego
this is
Weiss should be bigger.
I
Um,
bro, I keep hearing this from
mhm,
like, look at the top 100 films,
yep,
and it's, like, the same 30 people in all of them, like,
yep,
directing, starring in. Like, it is so hard. Like, it's like, the 80/20 rule, like, where 80% of the work's done by, like, 20% of, like, the people out
yes,
there. I would say it's even smaller, like, in Hollywood, where it's, like, 99% of, like, all the movies are, like, cast, like, the same 1% of actors that are
yep,
available, and it's not that, like, any of the other actors are bad. It's just that they basically look at it as like a winning formula of like money generation. They're like, oh, we know if we have like this star, we know if we have a Donnie Yen, we're going to do this much money,
yep,
and that's what they're hoping for. Uh, and they're not going to take like a chance on some other really talented actor
yeah,
and be like, oh, well, this would he would also fit, but we can get Donnie Yen and we can just pay him, 20, 30 million.
yeah, yeah.
So
Uh,
it's like you'll just see like a list like brrr, all of his movies and stuff. Like same with like Jackie Chan, where like that guy has like damn near 140 movies, like and it's like just him, where it's like
yep.
he does his own stunts. That's kind of his gimmick that he got over with.
He writes, directs, he does everything.
Yeah,
He
sings,
sings. Yeah,
pop
yeah.
star.
Yep, yep. So yeah, the like Hollywood wise, like that's a whole different pod, man. It really is. But like Tony Jaa just didn't hit as big as he could have because of contract that he had with his studio that produced Ong Bak. He was like tied into it, so he couldn't. He has to do X amount of films for them. So he tried to get out of it by becoming a Buddhist monk. And
Yeah,
but they're all like, nah, you still got to fulfill your contract. So that's why there's like this slew of just shitty Tony Jaa movies, and that really drove his stock down because right after Ong Bak, he and Tom Yum Goong, he could do no wrong. He wanted to work with
yeah.
Spielberg. He wanted to be cast in Indiana Jones 4. Um,
I
and
feel like Jackie Chan had like a similar problem. Like
that stopped really early for him though, because he
yeah,
had
yeah,
the
like it's like Fearless Hyena one.
mm,
Like he filmed that, it was like a banger, and then he like Fearless Hyena 2, it was like the studio still had the rights to make it too, but like he didn't want to do it. So they reused like a bunch of footage from like Fearless Hyena 1. I'm like watching them back to back. I'm like, what the fuck happened?
yeah,
Like I looked it up online. I was like, oh yeah, contracts.
Fist of Fear or his version of Fist of Fury, the remake for Bruce Lee's was definitely not something he wanted to do. But he bounced back. And then he had Rumble in the Bronx, which gave him the late launch pad into American cinema. He was also in Cannonball Run as,
Yeah,
as well, of course, but as a bit part where people nowadays know it, but I don't think people would really have noticed him before.
yeah.
Uh, and and for him, he's just a stuntman. He just considers himself a stuntman. He's like I do all the stunts because I
Happened
know
to
what it
act.
takes. Yeah, happen to act.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Jackie Chan. Like
yeah.
nobody better on that.
So the first Mortal Kombat movie
Mm.
is amazing. How did they drop the ball so bad on Mortal Kombat 2 Annihilation,
No,
dude?
no respect for the license or the fans. That's how.
Yeah,
The first movie did well because it like there's actually some respect for the source material. There's some respect for the fans, and
I think
and
that
they realized that the Mortal Kombat is just Enter the Dragon
yeah,
plot wise. Enter the Dragon was already made. It
it's
did
a
gangbusters. Yeah,
fantasy-based Enter the Dragon, like, with
yeah,
supernatural elements.
yeah.
I also like the guy, the actor did, played Raiden.
Christopher
Can't think
Lambert,
of
the
yeah,
Highlander.
Chris. Yeah, he like brought everybody together because they're all kind of like stuck on that island, and he was like, "All right, everybody, let's just do drinking," and like he just set it up like a party island.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
he's like, he kind of came to it like as like a joke almost, where he's like, "Oh, this is campy, this will be fun,"
yeah,
and like that kind of like love of the material, like the source material, where like we know this is silly and we're just gonna have fun with it.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it's good. It made for a great movie. Like, so
Yep, yep.
and
And I'm
that
glad you're.
camaraderie builds,
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you're blending fighting games and beat 'em ups because that 'cause we talked about fighting games on a previous pod. Beat 'em ups and fighting games are brother and sister. You know,
Yeah.
they definitely there's parts of one that go into the other and vice versa. Mortal
Whoa,
Kombat,
man! I thought we were talking about brothers and sisters. This is fucked up.
Mortal Kombat.
Took a weird turn there,
More.
Gimpy.
All right,
Your
my fault.
metaphors
My
are
fault. Oedipal complex, aside, um, the, got me off
We're
track.
not taking any parts of any brothers and sisters and putting them together here. All
But
right.
Mortal
It's
Kombat
like
ventured off with
it's like peanut
Shaolin
butter and
Monks.
jelly. Okay.
Yeah, peanut butter and jelly. Let's do that. Let's do that. Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks came out, which took the Mortal Kombat license. You played it and played as Liu Kang and Kung Lao, and made a one of the best beat 'em ups ever made. Man, you had it. It took the fighting game formula, it took the story because Mortal Kombat has always low key had the best story of any fighting game.
Yeah.
Even in the '90s, if you actually look at the lore, it's actually really goddamn good. They took Liu Kang Kung Lao, and you fought a zillion outworld bad guys, and it was great for it. Mortal Kombat tested it before with Sub-Zero Mythologies as a like side-scrolling kind of action game. It's similar to beat 'em up. It used the MK3 engine, I believe. It might have been two. It might have been a weird
Do you
like
remember that weird ass Mortal Kombat TV show?
yep, Mortal Kombat Conquest, starring the
Yeah,
original Kung Lao, the great Kung
yeah.
Lao. Yep,
Uh, I used to watch that all the time.
yep. It ended on a
It was like
cliffhanger.
on a weird time too. Like I had to be up at like 3 a.m. on like a weird channel. Like,
That's you watching the reruns on Sunday nights at
yeah,
2:30 or 2:45 a.m. on the WB.
yeah.
It came out on Saturdays at 9 Central, I believe. I that was like one of the first shows like I marked, man, to watch. It was like
Okay.
Mortal Kombat Conquest, and the next day you have Sunday. If you missed it, you watch Hercules and Xena first, and then you watch whatever Gene Roddenberry shows, usually like Final Conflict or something, right after at midnight. And then you hold out, you watch an infomercial for like the rotisserie cooker until
Yeah.
2:45 a.m. Then you get Mortal Kombat
Do you
Conquest. You
have a
watch the half
rotisserie
hour.
cooker, bro?
No, I don't. I don't. I love the infomercial though. You
They're
watch Mortal
great.
Kombat Conquest. You go to bed. You wake up way too early for school the next day. Super tired, but you did it.
Worth.
Um,
Yeah, I think that
yeah,
just lends like how good the story of Mortal Kombat is, where like they could have these weird like Sub-Zero mythologies, or they could like make a weird TV show, and you're like, oh, this is pretty good.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
even like uh, and then can have like a movie and like all this other stuff, and like even the game, like right now, like I was saying, with like they're trying to fix the timeline and all this stuff. Like there's so much craziness in there, and it feels like they finally got to the point where they're embracing that.
yeah.
Uh, and like I don't like kind of tying it all back around, like that's what made like a lot of these beat 'em ups like really good. Like the story was like kind of paper thin for the time, but like that's all you need. Like you need like quick hooks to get people in. And so like when you could get like a property like the X-Men fighting game, uh, they had elements from that IP that like if you weren't a fan of, like it just kind of looked cool. You're like, oh, I guess we're fighting this robot dude. And it's like, no, it was a Sentinel. And it was like, you don't understand. Like there's a bunch of stuff like going on, like in like with Ninja Turtles, where it's like they had like the deep cuts with the cartoon tie-ins, where it's like
Yep.
uh, that's what I enjoyed about the new Ninja Turtle movies. Have you watched those? have you
Unfortunately,
have you seen
yeah.
them?
The two
Michael
Michael Bay
Bay
movies.
directed.
Out of the Shadows, the second movie was much better than the first
I
because of.
thought they're both great.
All right,
Yeah,
then we just
I'm
lost any subscriber we've had. So thanks for
people are like,
watching or watching and listening to the Combo Wombo
how dare
podcast.
you
This will
do
be the
this?
last episode. No, Out of the Shadows had Bebop and Rocksteady, and it leaned into being like a cartoon, which was
Yeah.
much better. There's major issues with the movie, and there's major issues with production, but let's hear your reasoning why it was great.
No, they're just great movies. But like, I felt like the two was where they wanted to go from the beginning, but to get there, you had to start and ground it in like realism, right?
I
So
don't think
you had
so.
to, you don't think that he had a master
No.
plan from this? I think he did. I think he was like, oh, this is where we want to go, but we have to like have like a slower like drip in for the first movie. Otherwise, like it's like a roller coaster ride, man. You can't just start at the top and like drop down. Like you're like we have to like slow build into like uh what we want to do with these more fantastical elements. Like when we have like interdimensional beings and
Bro,
like
you got turtles who mutated from an ooze that the martial arts. Like it's already gone. It's already off the rails.
yeah, but I don't know, like they do this with like a lot of superhero movies, right? Where they like have to retell the origin story over and over again. Like all we have is like, a plethora of origin stories. Like this was gonna be the big bid for like that big, Ninja Turtle world, bro. And like I enjoyed it. Nobody else is doing Ninja Turtles at this point. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get.
The Nickelodeon 3D show is pretty good actually.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, so I mean I watch it with my
Is it better
kids.
than the Michael Bay movie?
100%.
Not gonna watch it.
It's
If
all right. It's all
it doesn't
right.
have explosions, like I'm not in it.
There's explosions in it. I can
Okay,
tell you
maybe I'll
that.
check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like especially the first series that's complete. There's like a newer one that uses a different animation style, but the first like Nickelodeon crack at it was fantastic. It was
Uh, we
based off the 3D movie.
we kind of touched on this for other games before, where it's like for DLC and whatnot, where it's like if you want these creators to keep making the games, like boredom, but like that might be sending the wrong message. Where it says like you want more of like this janky DLC or like bad costumes. I feel that way about like Ninja Turtles, where like I want live action Ninja Turtles, so I have to support it. I feel like it was not great, but I say the same things. Like my one buddy, she was like, "Oh, I'm taking my daughter to go see Jurassic Park. What do you think?" I'm like, "Does your daughter like dinosaurs?" She's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "It's the only game in town with dinosaurs, baby. Like you have to go to it." Like there's
True.
like that's the big selling point of like Jurassic Park at this point is like, do you want to see live dinosaurs? Because like there's no where else to get that. And it's like unfortunate they went into like a weird like horror like scary thing. Like I would pay good money to just watch, and they had like the IMAX experience or whatever, where it's just like here's dinosaurs doing dinosaur shit. I'm like, yeah, this is what's up. So I think there's like a market for like dinosaurs just being there, like in the world, uh, and that's why Michael Bay's Ninja Turtles is good, bro, because
No,
you're not
no,
getting
you don't.
it
You do
anywhere
not
else.
get to make that that connection. My, Michael
It's
Bay's Ninja
peanut
Turtles
butter
is
and
not
jelly,
good,
bro.
bro. That's peanut butter and fucking sardines, man. That just doesn't work.
It's not everybody's cup of tea, bro. So you just gotta toast the bread.
All right. No, no. So one of like the biggest things they got, like Michael Bay got wrong. Let's take out the fact that the turtles just looked like monsters. Let's take that
They
out.
look like giant mutants, dude. That's literally
That's the
teenage
problem,
mutant.
man. I don't want to have nightmares about my childhood like heroes, like the 90s movies, and this might be old man nostalgia, but the guys in the rubber suits looked friendly,
Yeah,
um,
I mean, they did like kids shows. They tore them around, bro.
yeah, yeah.
Like
Like,
that. Like put on this rubber suit. We're gonna like dance around and
but they
stuff.
got Shredder wrong, man. Like you can't if you make a Ninja Turtles thing, you have to nail Shredder. You just have to. If Shredder is a giant like robot man, it doesn't work.
I feel
It's
like you can't even get away with like the original Ninja Turtles movie today. Like where they're like, "Hey man, hey kids, you want to join a gang? Have some cigarettes, have some skateboards. Like, we're gonna go beat up people and steal shit." Like it was
yeah.
pretty dark. Like a lot of dark, weird
It was
undertones.
legit dark. Yeah, yeah,
Like,
it is.
but like it's supposed to be. Like I feel like we've lost some of that grit, like in our movies,
The
where
childhood
nobody,
grit.
yeah, where it's like this is like a realistic problem and you should be aware of it and we're not going to shy away from it, where it's like sometimes like people seem cool uh but they're actually like not having your best interest in heart. Like they're
Yeah.
like they will use things to take advantage of you, right? Like it's a, offering you stuff like, oh, you're not supposed to be smoking or like hanging out skateboarding, in these weird dark underground parks. You're not supposed to like join a ninja gang, bro. Where are the parents?
True, true. I feel
I
we
would
got
join
off.
a ninja.
I feel we got off track from the game part of it to just talking about
Would you
the
join a
movies.
ninja gang though?
A ninja gang? I mean, would they teach
Yeah,
me how to be a ninja? Because I think that's kind of the selling point at that point.
yeah,
It's like that
of
kid.
course.
It's like that kid from years ago that Boondocks also made fun of. It's like, yeah, I fucks with cigarettes. It's like I fucks with Ninja Gang.
Yeah, all right. I feel like we're
Yeah.
both. This is the problem. This is why you can't remake that movie today, dude. Because you would have like men, grown ass, middle aged men, like joining ninja gangs, starting underground ninja gangs.
That's the thing. Like someone random's just gonna listen to this pod. Go. I took Taekwondo as a kid. Let me just go make my own dojo and just start doing crimes.
Yeah, we're gonna do ninja gang. Like, you can't tell anybody about ninja gang.
Right, right. It's
It's the
it's
rule
Fight Club
one.
for sure,
Yep.
for sure. Disclaimer at the bottom here: do not join a ninja gang, no matter how cool it
No.
sounds.
Did you watch that episode of South Park where they started becoming ninjas?
Yes.
I feel like it's gonna end up with that, dude. Like, we're getting so much respect as ninjas. Just be like a terrorist organization. Oh
Oh
man.
man, yeah. So back to beat 'em ups.
Yeah, dude.
No,
Did you play that new beat 'em up where it's like a fan made game with Final Fight where it has like all the characters?
no, but there's that. I mean, like Mugen has been a thing forever, or not Mugen.
Yeah,
Beats of Rage, and people have made other beat 'em ups on top of it. But no, I haven't played the Final Fight one.
it's supposed to be good. I haven't either. I just thought I'd get an honorable mention here.
Good
I
topic.
know it's
Good
like
topic.
I know it's like I know it's like huge, like that movement of people who love that game. Like
Mm,
like so that's your honorable mention that and we haven't played it and we're probably not gonna play it or seek it out.
I might play it. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I said,
Just
I'm a
join a
big.
ninja gang.
Have you played like the Final Fight series though? Because I feel like when we're talking about beat 'em ups, you have to mention Final Fight,
I
because it,
played
it was the one
the
to beat.
see, so my experience with most beat 'em ups has been like arcade machines. And I
Okay.
played some Final Fight while I was waiting for Chinese food. They and that was it. Like I haven't like and then I also played some more Final Fight while I was waiting for laundry at one point.
I also played my arcade experience with Final Fight was my family lived in an apartment at the time. The apartment's washer and dryer was broken, so we had to go up the street to the laundromat. The laundromat had uh, Final Fight, and then there was like a Neo Geo cabinet with like Samurai Showdown too. So it was either I
Yeah,
was playing that or Final Fight. So I get it. I get it. Final Fight when that came out, it was post Street Fighter 2, um, and it had giant sprites. It had special moves where you had to input certain buttons. Um, it had a pretty graphic, and for that time where it's like you were strapped to a chair and the continue screen, like it was counting down. There was like a bomb was about to go off.
yep, yep.
So I mean that was pretty big. And to have my one Ninja Gaiden reference for each podcast episode, one of Ninja Gaiden had a arcade version, where if you're to the game over screen, it was very famous where Ryu was on a table and there was a saw blade going to cut him in half.
Yeah.
So beat 'em ups kind of got away with a lot of like more risque things that old politicians like Joseph Lieberman and and stuff of that era like skipped over when they were just going after Mortal Kombat for the games are too violent thing, which unfortunately has come back up in the state of
Tipper
Illinois.
Gore.
Yeah, Tipper
Illinois,
Gore.
I think, was just looking for a way to tax online DLC purchases, and they did it. So I think they just want more tax money. I think that's what it comes down to.
Well, a politician recently came out and was like, "We need to ban the sale of all violent video games," and specifically is going after GTA 5. I'm like, dude, that came out like 10 years ago.
Still popular. Everyone's still
Yeah, no, it
playing it.
really is. Yeah, yeah, I get it, but there's
Feel
yeah,
like
it's
I
like
saw this YouTube video of a man shooting a horse at a tanker truck. This is a
yeah,
terrible game.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, you know, like people don't get that games are
They're
escapism
putting
fantasy.
Thomas the Tank into this game.
True.
Shrek is running around beating up people online in GTA 5 right now. We need to ban this. We need to stop.
For sure. But I think that the beat 'em up genre was did so well because it was 9 times out of 10 was a co-op experience. You could always play it with like a friend, a
Yeah,
brother, a sister. Um, that's why it was so big. It was you weren't in direct competition with each other, so there was no like skill
it's
gap. You
co-op
you
again.
weren't getting your ass handed to you all day like in like Street Fighter or something. You were
So I feel this
fighting towards a
about
big goal.
Valheim. Like people are like, "Why did this game pop?" Why is it like,
That's a jump.
no,
Go on.
we're no, let me tie it together, bro. I'm gonna
Okay,
bring it around, put a nice bow on it, and then
sure.
we're gonna lead right back in. Uh, yeah, people are like, "How did this sell so many copies and stuff?" And I was like, the real magic about this game is like it's cooperative, and I've always felt like any game you're playing with your friends, you're gonna have fun with. And I've always, at least as I've gotten older, I only look at like online video games as like a chat interface for hanging out
Yeah,
with my buddies now at this
yeah,
point. Uh, and like that's the real magic. If you can get people off of like the other, top games like League of Legends or Apex or Minecraft, you can like get everybody in like one server and we're all doing like the same thing. We're gonna have a great time no matter like what it is, like what we're playing. Uh, and like beat 'em ups, you get that like shoulder to shoulder cooperative
yeah.
experience, and like you can have a really good time like with them. But they don't really lend themselves well to the single player experience.
True, true. I think that that's a
That's
very
where
good
the
point.
magic happens, is like when you're with your buddies and you're taking on gangs of ninjas and you're like running into bars, fist fighting people.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely something something to be said about that. Um, you're right. You're right. But that ties into like some of the game dev aspects that we like to cover on the show as well. Of you know, adding like even some sort of co-op to your game if your game can support it. It's I feel it's always a good idea. Um, you never I don't think you're ever going to go wrong having some sort of co-op element.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's exceptions to what I just said, but
I don't know. I've heard like there was a GDC talk with this guy where he's like, "Why your game sucks" or whatever, and he's
mhm,
like, he's a publisher, and he's like, "I will never like buy into co-op games." He's like, they always demo great, like on the floor of like PAX or whatever like big game expo there is. He goes,
yeah,
but like nobody buys them because like you're saying, like you have to really nail down like that online multiplayer aspect
yeah,
where it just needs to work. Like it just works. Because
yeah,
it's what you need. Like you need it to be like I need integration of like my friends list and I need to be able to like snappily connect to like whatever we're trying to do. And
yeah,
like we talked about that with like fighting games and stuff with like Killer Instinct where like the net code has to be really tight.
yep,
I don't think it has to be as tight for something as like a beat 'em up game. Like,
yeah.
but I don't know. And I also don't want to see anybody making beat 'em up battle royales.
No, that sounds
I'm
awful.
just putting that out there.
there was there was a game for the Xbox called Iron Phoenix, and it was like a 16 player arena brawler, and it had some similarities to a battle royale, so it could work, but yeah, I'd rather not.
So what you
Um,
do is you start a lobby with 16 of your buddies and you start a ninja gang, and then you have
yep,
to fight all the other ninja gangs around the world in a battle royale situation for control of the city. You have to get to the city center to the TV station to take it over and spread your ninja message.
yeah, yeah, but we're getting to the point where what you were, I'm
And
just trying to be.
RoboCop was there.
You're just did you notice that every rundown city that you're fighting through in 90% of the beat 'em ups is actually just Detroit?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
That's the real life
Detroit had an
Detroit,
image
bro.
problem for
Or
sure.
like when those like major factories left, like it was basically like if anybody who could like get out got out, and then if you
Yeah,
couldn't, like you're just kind of in there and you're doing the best with what you got.
true,
Uh,
true.
And
when the grid goes down, the first like the city you have to look out for is Detroit because they're going to be the first city where like cannibals come out, like cannibal roving cannibal gangs.
I
They
think
have
the
all
only
the
ones
old
that are going
Ford
to be,
manufactured cars.
I think they're going to be thriving. I think like they're already
Yeah,
been living it for so long where they're
right.
just like, oh, did you hear everything shut down? They're like, nothing new.
Yeah, right, right.
Like
Detroit low
shrug it
key, the
off.
Detroit low key, the the bastion of the pandemic. Just it's
Yeah,
like look to Detroit for how to
just
live.
all living. I feel like I don't know. It seems like that also like creates like that sense of community and stuff, and like for better or worse, that's where you end up with like people uh like Eminem, where like gang problems and stuff too, where it's like you don't have a lot of options, and then like people offering you to join a ninja gang seems way more tempting.
Way more
Like
tempting.
you guys just sit around smoking and skateboarding all day, like I'm in.
Son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, like you guys got me at ninja gang.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, man, like but like there's a lot of like really good people just doing the best with like that situation.
Yeah.
Of But then like at the same time, like me and the professor talked about this at one point where we're like, we should start a moving company that helps relocate people from rural areas to like places with like good jobs that they would have the skills for. And I was like, bro, people won't even move when there's a fucking hurricane coming. I don't think me and our truck are gonna like you, me and a truck aren't gonna help people like get out of like their location to like a new place, dude. Like, so I don't know. Some people are just old and they're stuck in their ways and they're not gonna want to move. Like,
It's
you
a
see a
good
lot of people right
premise.
now, like, yeah,
I was gonna say it's a good
what
premise for a
the
beat 'em
moving
up.
truck?
You and the professor are big dudes, but you just walk up, just fists, just go. You're gonna move out of here for better opportunity, or else, and
No,
then
it's like it's a beat 'em up, but you're the bad guy. Like you know how you can always
yeah,
like smash
yeah,
windows
right.
and pick up items.
Yep.
It's like that, like where we're like we drive a truck, you stop, and then like you like run out, and like you like break through windows, and like you start grabbing stuff and loading it into the truck. And it's also like a weird item management. It's like a grid system, like the old Resident Evil, where you like have to Tetris place blocks in there.
That's actually a good idea, man. We
Yeah,
maybe look into that.
well, we
That's
should talk. We have to cut this
yeah, you
part of
should
the
talk
pod.
for sure, man. Pending.
You know,
Don't steal our
I think
idea.
we could do this. I think we could knock something out here.
Yeah, man, it'd be interesting. I haven't actually made a beat 'em up, even like prototype, just because like the combo system seemed hard as a single dev. But I mean, it could be good. Uh,
Uh, we need a name for it, dude.
it's true. It's true.
Ninja Gang.
I mean, we got Combo Wombo just right here. you know, Combo Wombo, the movers. uh, but
Presents the movers.
right, right, right. All right. So, but let's go to where beat 'em ups went. So after they were in vogue in the late '80s, early '90s, they started to fall by the wayside with the advent of 3D. You had
Also, like
something
the
like
home
Fighting Force
console.
and home consoles, yes, because beat 'em ups by nature were pretty shallow.
Yeah,
And reviewers would just rip into them, going, "You could beat this game in 20 minutes. Don't buy it. Don't pay $50 for this." Um,
yeah.
so the games started coming out fewer and further between. But what they became are your like today's hack and slash games. You got your Devil May Cries, your Ninja Gaiden reference number what 3, Ninja Gaidens, Bayonetta, without beat 'em ups as the blueprint. You wouldn't have these hack and slash 3D action games really, and the ones that such as like Devil May Cry really um, has its roots in beat 'em ups. Like you have juggle combos, things like that. Some beat 'em ups in the '90s had juggle combos. You had
I love the Devil May Cry series. I've
yeah,
played and beat all of the games. I couldn't tell you anything about Devil May Cry. Like I don't know. There's something so satisfying about that combo system where
mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, new Devil May Cry, and like I would beat the game, and I'm like, oh, that's good. And then like I don't know, it was like that whole
Music was
game is a
banging though.
fever dream, dude. Like is
Yeah,
like talk about like shallow plot and stuff like that is. I think the newer game, like 4, like leaned more into like the absurdity of it. Like that one I remember more about, and maybe it's because I played it more recently.
did you
But it
play
was like
5?
I might have played 5. Is that the
Because
one with the
5 just came
TV
out. 5 just
network?
came out.
No, I haven't played 5. It was 4, I think, was the last one.
Okay, you need
Uh,
to play 5. It's great.
okay, yeah, no, I'm telling you, like they started leaning more into the story of that. But like the first 3 games, there's like no story. They're like, I don't know, we're in a castle, beat everybody up. And I'm like, I'm in. Let's do this.
Devil May Cry started off as a prototype for Resident Evil 4.
Okay,
So
that makes sense.
Resident Evil 4 was reiterated, just had 40, 50 different iterations because they didn't know what they wanted the game to be. Because they knew they wanted
4
to.
Resident Evil 4 was a banger though. Like that was
Resident Evil
probably like
4, yeah,
the best game. So like I guess it was worth it. And we also got Devil May Cry out of it. So
yeah, very
like
true.
we really won.
Yeah, yeah. Us as consumers won with that for sure. Um, Forget where I was going with this because you.
I was so like beat 'em ups have to focus more on like a really good story now. And the combo systems evolved into like hack and slash games like Devil May Cry, like
Mm,
God of War, like
yeah.
uh Ninja Gaiden.
Right.
So yeah, and like those tight controls, there's something to be said about it. Like I said, like it's something incredibly satisfying about it. Like the clicking, like I don't know, like cookie clicker, where it's like a mindless thing, but like you keep seeing
Yeah.
the numbers go up and stuff. You're like, ah, numbers go up, I'm stronger. And
Yeah.
there's nothing. I think a lot of games don't do this enough. Where when it get to like a power level point where you need to level off, like
Mm,
where you want to feel like a badass for a little bit. And
yeah.
that's like where you reintroduce like those first monsters that you ran into, and you're just like one shotting the life out of everybody.
Yeah.
Like I feel more games need to do that where they need to have like a moment to breathe of like quite a while, like 15, 20 minutes where you're just like destroying people and you're like, yes. And then like you start hitting harder enemies again.
Yeah.
I feel the same problem with superhero movies, right? With like Captain
Mm,
America is like going toe to toe with like GSP on a boat.
yeah.
Like, you're like, bro, he's Captain America. He's literally just like one shot at everybody. Like, I know GSP, George St. Pierre, is like a legit UFC fighter and strong dude, but like Captain America's gonna knock him out in like a half a second with like the back of his hand, dude. Like he's literally like a superhuman strength, dude. Like this is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like
But
I also saw the same problem in the Netflix show Daredevil, where he would be fighting like really strong opponents, and then like street level dudes were giving him a problem, and I'm like, bro, you just beat up a gang of ninjas. Like you know, these dudes like working at like a restaurant aren't going to give you any issues, dude. Like so. I don't know. There's like a power creep problem I feel in video games, especially with
tr-
beat 'em ups.
true. And that's just inherent in any game where you're like one versus the
Like
world
I say, especially in beat 'em up, I would say beat 'em ups have avoided this problem by not
by
having
not
power
having
creep.
power
Like
creep.
yeah, there's no way to, like, level up anything, like, you're basically on a flat linear plane, uh,
Yeah.
the entire
I
story-wise,
mean,
like, everybody's, like
there's Guardian Heroes, which is the exception because it was the first beat 'em up. Well, first one
oh,
to
it's like
outside of River
River
City
City.
Ransom to introduce like a level up system.
Yeah,
So I mean, there's exceptions, of course, but
yeah, and then there's, like,
you're right.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World, that game, that was
Yes.
pretty good.
Yep. Yep.
I
And
guess
it
an
just had a
honorable mention.
re-release. Yep.
I didn't
Definitely.
play it, but I know it's good because people
It
tell me it's good.
it recently had a re-release. Actually, they somehow finagled the rights back. So definitely pick it up because it's been gone since 2011, I believe. I actually shelled out for the limited run games physical edition just because I'm like I
Well,
want it. So
I
it's
guess it's
worth.
gonna be worth money. This is the
I don't even think it's gonna be worth money. It's just for me.
it's going in the family vault. This is your inheritance,
Family vault.
children.
Yeah.
Scott
Right.
Pilgrim.
Good. Yeah. Um,
I got right here next to my Punisher wardrobe, issue
I
number 4.
I feel we skipped over a huge like kind of offshoot, the Dynasty Warriors games,
Oh shit. Dynasty
because
War. There's been a
because
million of those, dude.
there's been a billion, yeah, like a million of them, and
No,
they take they take like the beat 'em up of the one versus 100, and you
yeah,
still have low level guys like hours into the game, and you're just juggling like crowds of people. I feel
yeah,
like where hack and slashes went with beat 'em ups, Dynasty Warriors just went the other way with it. It's just
yeah,
like you are a god, just Lubu
yeah.
and
Bigger
versus the
than life.
world. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that that both have merits. Some people say that Dynasty Warriors is a shallow game. Like those people don't
It
know what
is.
fun is. It's 100%
Yeah.
shallow, and that's not a negative thing. That game is
Yep.
just pure popcorn fun.
Yep.
So
Much like Ninja Turtles, Michael Bay's movie.
I don't know. I don't even know how to respond to that. Please, like, if you're watching on YouTube, please go to the comments below and explain to Chip how wrong he is about the Ninja
No,
Turtles Michael
explain
Bay movies.
how right I am, and how if we want how we need a third movie, a trilogy.
Yeah, yeah. And somehow I don't think that's gonna anyone's gonna really agree with you on that.
I think you'd be
Um,
surprised.
I think that Ninja Turtles will work in live action. I don't think Michael Bay's the guy to do it.
I think you're doing phenomenal work. I think you're doing God's work, Michael Bay. Keep at it. Stay strong.
Can we
Don't listen to the haters.
don't listen to Mr. Gimpy and the haters?
Yep.
That's a good
Mr.
band name.
Gimpy and the hater
Can we?
gang.
Yeah, right. Can we get Mr. Gimpy and the haters just like album art right now? Just
Yeah.
it's like us versus the us versus the swath of three Ninja Turtle fans led by Chipped Monk.
Hey man, there's a lot more than three, buddy.
Three,
We're
the
out
three of the
here.
Michael Bay fans. Yeah.
Yep. We're buying one-up cabinets. We're supporting Michael Bay, dude. Like,
Yep, yep. So what do you think of so beat 'em ups are definitely coming back, and I think like it's helped by some remasters, like the Ninja Warriors got remastered. The one up arcade machines that you mentioned are coming back with the X-Men arcade game, which the dream is to have a 6 player one up arcade cabinet of the X-Men game, but you're going to be limited to 4, I believe.
yeah.
You have the Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time arcade game, coming back. Do you think that this will lead to like this generation's respect for beat 'em ups, or do you think it's just pure nostalgia and only people who grew up
I,
with it will buy it?
I don't like we're kind of joking or whatever. Like they've always been pure popcorn fun.
Yeah,
So there's not like a huge depth there that will ever garner the respect it really deserves. Much like Michael Bay, it'll always be an unsung gem of the genre. Uh, where, yeah, I think the people who know will always appreciate and love them,
yeah,
but beat 'em up's not Michael Bay. But uh, it's a it's hard to tell people why they're fun and why they're important, and especially if you don't enjoy that type of game. And like when you sit down and you play, you're like, I don't get this, Grandpa. Uh, but like you said, like their DNA is like in like most games that are popular still, like your Dynasty Warriors, like Devil May
yeah,
Cry. Like uh, there's the one versus like a city, the one versus like 100, like that. I mean, like we got battle royales and stuff now. Like it's like it's
yeah,
that same idea, except instead of having AI, you're fighting other people. Where the they don't understand like how groundbreaking and interesting an idea this was, like back in the 80s and 90s, of like giving more pathos to the side-scrolling action game.
yeah,
And like I don't know, man. It's I think they're gonna be coming back just because online's becoming so much better, and
yes,
like I think there's definitely going to be a movement of indie developers who really try and recapture some of that online fun, like net play. And I think the magic's going to be like who can get the silliness of it right, because like there has to be
yeah,
like a certain amount of like silly, like you either go like super serious where it's parody almost like RoboCop, where it's like
or like hyper
there's
violent.
yeah, there's like levels to it where like on the first level it's like a serious like gritty horrifying movie, and then there's like a second level where it becomes campy. Uh, but like a lot of that was movie producers, right? By the third movie, he's like running around jetpacks and stuff, and they because they're like, oh, we're
Yeah,
selling toys and stuff on this. Like, let's get them in to show up to WCW. Like,
yeah,
it's, and it's like kind of like we said about like children's movies and stuff, where they're getting rid of like a lot of the grit and hard edges on stuff because they like don't want to take any chances.
yeah,
Uh, I feel like beat 'em ups, you can have it be like hyper realistic and hyper violent and stuff. Like I'm not gonna gatekeep the genre, but
yeah,
like I would say where they're in the sweet spot is when they're like more campy and fun and like silly, where like anything could happen and does. Where like you'll be running down and like all of a sudden like somebody will drive a motorcycle and like it flips over and then they jump out and they're trying to fight you and you're like, what is this? Like
yeah,
uh the Simpsons game where like Marge is running around like a vacuum cleaner knocking fools out with that, or
Hell yeah.
uh, yeah, they're definitely there's I feel like that's at the core of like a good beat 'em up is like some silliness.
Yep.
You have to have
Agreed.
like online play at this point. Like, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah, with the advent of Steam Remote Play, like the online like barrier is less and less, as time goes on. But
Even
yeah,
like the mobile phones and stuff, where you should
yeah,
be able to just like jump in somewhere on mobile with like your friends.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
understand why there's not like a way to do that. Like they have it with like other apps where you're like, oh, here's on your contact list who has like the same
This
app.
game, yeah.
Yeah, you would think that would be built in at this point.
Some some games do that back with like the Google Play thing, but then the privacy issues came up where
Yeah.
it's like you don't want to give certain apps so much access. So
How do they
like
know
being
who
able
my
to
friends
tag who
are?
you are, who your friends are, it's there's like a privacy thing there. But yeah, I think that could be good. What I think that you hit it right on the head. This innate silliness of beat 'em ups really help. I think what I want is if we take the 3D action game, I'd like a studio or an indie dev, someone, and it's not going to be me, unfortunately.
Here's
I
something.
just yeah, right. It's not going to be me, but to take a 3D action game like the Devil May Cry series and add like what Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks did, just add like a co-op element to it and make it online just so you can play it whenever. That may exist. I mean, Devil May Cry 5 had a like pseudo kind of co-op thing going on with it, but just go full bore with it. Yeah, so I think it could be good, and I think beat 'em ups are just a very very important bit of history for games for game devs to look at for why something as simple as adding another player, just
Yeah.
ramps up the fun. I
I'll
think
say
that's
they're
a good
super fun, and if you're not experiencing that, you're not playing with other people. Like
yes.
you can get elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder, and like because like again, like that's where they hit the sweet spot is like when you're there live with people enjoying something and having that communal experience where it has like some of that silliness and you can all laugh and just like enjoy it.
Yeah. Let's put a pin on this here. What is your favorite beat 'em up that you'd recommend to people?
I'd recommend it.
Or we can split it. We can do your favorite or and one you'd recommend to people.
Man, I would recommend. I mean, the classics kind of come. The
Yeah.
Simpsons one's pretty great. X-Men, Ninja Turtles. Like uh, for me personally, I would probably say Double Dragons. But
Okay.
that's kind of like a time place type of thing where it's like I was the right age hitting that arcade machine and it was like had free play mode on and like just
Yeah.
playing with my little brother and I was like, this is great. So
Double Dragon is a great choice. It's a valid choice. I think that if you could play the original games, or if you want something a little more modern, you could play Double Dragon Neon, which was also amazing. Then there's Double Dragon 4, I want to say 5, or like a reboot. I can't remember which number it was, but it was made by I want to say it was Arc System Works that came back and it was using the old sprites. I
nice.
that one I missed out on, and actually talking about it now, I am gonna go buy it, give it a
Yeah,
go.
Arc Systems make some good games, man. They made the whole Guilty Gear, right?
Guilty Gear, the Dragon Ball Fighters game,
Yeah.
BlazBlue, Grand Blue
Arcsworks out there
Fantasy.
doing God's work.
They are. The other, so for me, um, Streets of Rage 2 is the best beat 'em up of all time. Um, that's the one I would recommend to people. If you want something more modern, play Streets of Rage 4, which same series. Uh, the big part of beat 'em ups for me is memorable music, and Streets of Rage has some of the best music in the industry. So definitely check it out. When I mentioned that Double Dragon game, I'm gonna just add like a link or something to correct what I'm thinking because it's off the top of the dome. I can't remember the full fact on it. Um, so we're near the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
Chip, what have you been playing this week, man? What's new?
Just playing some Valheim.
Yeah.
I touched Doom Eternal. I played part of the first level. The weapons are too weak in my opinion, dude. Like like you have to hit everybody like with so many shots. The controls feel clunky somehow. I don't know, man. It feels like they made that game for a console, like a controller. Uh, it's just I don't know. Like
Are
the
you
look at like the mouse sensitivity options and stuff. Dude, there's not a lot in there for customization and stuff. It feels they have like a slow button. What's up with that? Like you hit shift to slow down. I was like, I want to go faster, dude.
what?
Yeah, like
So
shift is walk in that game.
are you playing? You're playing 2016 then? Or are you playing Eternal?
I don't know what I'm playing. It just said Doom. I clicked it.
Oh, so that's 2016. If it says Doom,
Okay.
so Doom Eternal is the newer one. And Doom 2016 is fast as hell.
It's
um,
fast, but I want to go faster. It needs to be about 30-40% faster.
So one, you should be having raw mouse input on. Two, the game's about the glory kills. So when you're like shooting things, you hit E and just like rip people asunder. Keep at it. The game gets like if you're playing.
That's annoying to me. Like the glowy kills, like I just want to mow down monsters with my guns. Like I don't want to like get up close and personal. Like those things, you can tell it's built for the glory kill system because like
Hmm.
those monsters move weird, and I think it's kind of. I mean, they had like a. I watched like the GDC talk about this, but the animator was like talking about like using like AI to like control like how they move, where it's like a different every time or whatever, and like they build out like this beautiful system for the monsters and like how to be able to like do glory kills from anywhere.
Hmm.
Uh, that all falls apart like if you're just playing it like Doom, where I'm shooting things and then like after they get past a certain point of damage, like they just start like stumbling around like zombies, and like there's
Yeah.
like the challenge disappears, and because I know how to first person shoot, like I walk into a room and I'm like boom, 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 like all like headshots
Yeah.
across the room. So then there's like just like a bunch of like stumbling zombies in the room, and I'm like, now I have to. It feels like a chore to like run up and like beat up somebody that I've already shot in the face.
So you have to chain those, and you could do it from like a stupid far distance away, and it sounds like you're playing the first game. You get upgrades later that improves movement. You get double jump. And then shift is supposed to be dash. So I don't know what the hell you're doing to walk, but
Shifted, making me walk.
it's like it's a dash. You get to air dash. I would love to watch you play that just to see how you're doing it
All
incorrectly.
right.
But stick with it. Seriously, stick with it because like the further you get into it, the more unlocks, the bigger the game gets. There's a reason why it won Game of the Year from like 40 publications. Like there's a definite reason for it. But yeah, how about Valheim? How's that?
Valheim's been great. Kind of like I was saying, where it's like a chat interface where like that game really falls apart. Like if you try and play it by yourself, where you're like, man, this game kind of sucks ass. But then like when you get in with like, a bunch of people and you're like, oh, this is great. Um, I feel like it's early access still. It needs more at every like level of the game. Like
Mm,
I don't kind of it's broken up into like almost like epochs or biomes or whatever. So like I
yes.
feel like the meadow needs just a little bit more. The dark forest or black forest or whatever it's called needs a bit more. We just got to the snow part, like after the black swamp, and the
Okay.
snow part just feels like completely lacking. Like there's
Mm,
nothing really to do up there. We're trying to capture some wolves right now, but
okay.
uh, yeah, it feels like everything could use about like 40% more building things at each level, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah, it's fun. It's great. It's a good game.
that's the nature of early
What
access, though. You're gonna
about you,
get
man? What have you been
yeah
up
for
to?
yeah for me. I have
Yeah,
been
you.
I've been playing Super Mario Brothers 3D World. I've been playing it co-op on my Wednesday stream, and I've been playing it off stream with my 4-year-old daughter. Uh,
Oh,
great game, great game.
does she get it?
She gets it. She knows how to move and jump. There's like when you get to like some of the harder stages, like you can actually pick someone up in that game and just like run through with them.
Yeah,
So she goes pick me up, and I was like, all right. So I grab her and we're running through the level together.
carrying her on your back,
Yeah,
literally.
literally carrying her on my back. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. The level design is fantastic. The world, the different like not biomes, the different worlds. Like we just hit the desert world.
They are by.
After the snow levels, they were very creative. There's one level in particular that it's a platformer section where you're just running through, but it uses the old Mario Kart music and the like Mario Kart assets from like the first game, which was really cool.
Nice.
Um, yeah, really loving it. We also touched Bowser's Fury as well, which reviewers are correct in that Bowser's Fury is phenomenal. If that's where the next Mario game is going with like the open world with like just a imminent threat the entire time, I'm here for it, man. It's really cool.
Will
Uh,
we get Bowser or whatever? The female Bowser?
Bowsette, yeah,
Yeah.
no.
To embrace Bowser.
I know like the internet community just loved Bowsette, but yeah, no, that's Nintendo's probably never gonna embrace that. But yeah, no,
I think I feel like Nintendo's like an old company, but I mean they banned like a bunch of different stuff. At one point
yeah,
they stopped them from doing like the peace sign for a while, like
yeah,
and then that came back in the Hats game, whatever that was. You
Odyssey,
know, Odyssey, yeah. They brought back a lot of like homages in Odyssey that
yeah,
uh Nintendo proper was like, oh, we'll never do any of this stuff ever. And then they're like, yeah, there's like a little wink and a nod to it.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
When I would get the new Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion 3 was fantastic as well. A really good game. Yeah, I haven't been on the PC much this week playing games. I've mostly been playing the Switch. I also picked up Splatoon 2 for the first time, and I'm just now getting into that game. When Splatoon 3 was announced, I was actually kind of interested in it, and I was like, well, might as well check out 2. Haven't played the series yet, and I'm using the gyroscopic aiming controls. Just giving
Seems
that a
like
try.
Nintendo's incredibly unsupportive of like the competitive scenes that show up around their games, like Splatoon. Like they even had like those issues with Smash Bros. Where they're like, oh, we're not
Yeah.
gonna. Uh, and then like Arms, I know Arms has like been way bigger, like in the tournament scene. Like there's a whole underground Arms movement out there,
Mm-hmm.
and like Nintendo wants none of it, and like they have
They
like a
still are running like their bi-monthly tournaments for all of those games. I feel like Splatoon 2 is probably what they're most behind, and I don't know why. I think the Smash community might be a little too vocal for Nintendo to want to deal with, but which is a mistake on
Smash
Nintendo's part.
community is horrible too, but
Yeah,
I'm just
but
putting that out there. They're terrible. They're like the worst community. Like they're super vocal, but they're also just bad. They smell bad. They're filled with bad people in that community.
That's, I mean, every community has their issues. I don't want to lump everyone. There's some
I
great
would say
stuff.
the majority of the Smash players they need to take a bath. They need to take two baths. That's the insult in Brazil.
Too bad for that's funny.
Yeah, like you
Uh,
need to take two baths. Like
it's all in good fun. People like the Smash players are just right now. It's
yeah,
like
Smash
fuck you,
players.
Chip. They're
Smash, the Smash players agree with me. They're
if we
like, yeah,
did
those
it,
other guys are horrible. That's not me though.
if we did it, yeah, right. If we didn't lose everyone with your Michael Bay Ninja Turtles love, we just lost another set of people.
Good man. Smash players need two baths, dude.
But yeah, no, I think
But yeah,
like the online
let's
service is
table it.
$20 a year.
We can talk about Nintendo all day, dude.
Yeah, yeah,
We gotta stop this at some point.
true,
This is
true,
like a whole different discussion. I feel like we got
true,
lost in the sauce as
true.
soon as we
Lots of
start.
sauce.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, I was playing Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. It's a good game, good game. Had been playing, and
Uh,
the online mode works. You know, I mean, that's all that is.
yeah, I gotta
Um,
think we can get caught us monologuing about Nintendo there, dude. Like,
yeah, right.
I was like,
Just cut out the whole
we've
thing.
been talking
Yeah,
about this for a while. Maybe we could go on like a whole other podcast
it's true.
about
Oh,
Nintendo.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll probably cut that out. But yeah, yeah. Good game. But for
It's just gonna cut to like, oh, good game.
No one will ever know the intense
Yeah,
edit that happened.
yeah.
All right, man. Well, for Chipped Monk, I'm Mr. Gimpy. This has been the Combo Wombo podcast. We'll see you guys next.